Has he struck for a third time? Police on the trail of a repeat sex attacker investigate another assault. And jumping off the circuit, a North East Olympic champion says it's time to retire. Good afternoon. Detectives investigating indecent assaults on two women in their beds in Seaham believe their attacker may have struck a third time. Durham police have revealed they're investigating an assault on a 24-year-old woman when she took a shortcut on a footpath near her home. Keith Akehurst reports.
It was while police were investigating the previous two sex attacks in Seaham that the latest incident occurred. It was about a third of a mile from where two pensioners had suffered degrading, indecent assaults in their own homes. It was not reported to the police until this week, 10 days after it happened. A 24-year-old woman was taking a shortcut between Essex Crescent and Ryton Crescent in the Deanside area shortly before midnight 2 weeks ago. She was attacked by a masked man and indecently assaulted. He's described as being between 6'2" and 3 inches tall, with broad shoulders and of slim build. He was wearing dark jacket, trousers and trainers. He had an 8-inch knife curved at the point. The description is very similar to that given by the pensioners who were attacked in separate incidents on the 6th of August and on January the 25th. Officers say there are obvious similarities between all three attacks, yet there are clear differences. The first two assaults on the pensioners seem to have been premeditated, the latest opportunistic. The first two were against elderly women in their homes on the same estate, the last one on a woman in her 20s in the street, on a different estate a few hundred yards away. Detectives started intelligence-led DNA screening earlier this week. Saliva swabs have been taken from men in the Seaham area and are being compared with DNA samples recovered from the attack on the 6th of August. The police are confident they will eventually catch the man responsible.
Keith Akehurst reporting. A family doctor is due in court in a few minutes' time to face a total of 22 offences of indecent assault and pornography. Dr Syed Amjad Hussain, who's 29, has been working at the Orchard Court Surgery in Darlington. He was arrested on Wednesday. He's been charged with indecently assaulting a woman in her mid-30s and two young girls in separate incidents in a consulting room at the surgery. He's also charged with indecent assault on a 74-year-old woman and 18 offences of making indecent images of young girls on a computer and a camcorder. Dr Hussain is due to appear before Peterlee magistrates at 2 o'clock. Drivers working for York's main bus company are holding a vote today that will determine whether they go on strike tomorrow. Transport and General Workers Union members employed by the company First in York will decide whether to accept a new pay offer of £7 an hour. They've asked for £8. If the offer's rejected, they'll take strike action starting tomorrow. Meanwhile, workers at a threatened electronics plant on South Tyneside have voted overwhelmingly to take a pay cut to try to save jobs. Staff at Circutex in South Shields have voted by 444 to 102 in favour of a radical business plan from their managers. The plan will mean a number of redundancies as well as a temporary pay cut of 10% for everyone. Not all of the 650-strong workforce chose to vote. Now, as you may have just seen on the national news, it's been one of the hardest decisions of his life, but Tyneside's triple jump champion, Jonathan Edwards, has announced that he'll retire from athletics after the World Championships, which start tomorrow. Well, that means he won't defend his Olympic title in Athens next year and can concentrate on his new television career, which has included presenting the sport on Look North. Mike Tulip reports.
As a committed Christian, Edwards had grabbed the headlines for not competing on a Sunday. But this jump at the 1995 World Championships made him a household name, 18 metres 29, which even he hasn't matched since. 3 years ago in Sydney, an achievement to rival that, Olympic gold to add to an impressive medal collection. But last year, a new kid on the block, Sweden's Christian Olsen, reminded us that Edwards couldn't go on forever, pipping him to European gold. Today, at 37 and nursing the sore ankle which threatened to confine him to commentating duties in Paris, this announcement.
Towards the end of last week, when I'd finalised it in my mind, I had a great sense of peace about it. I thought, no, this is the right thing to do. And I've always had that shall I, shan't I? I mean, that has dogged me for the last 2 years, really. Should I retire? And having made the decision, I felt very peaceful about it. I felt it was the right decision. Nonetheless, I come here and it's the World Championships and, I get that excitement and I'll miss it.
Edwards says it's a miracle he's even ready to compete in qualifying tomorrow after twisting his ankle at Crystal Palace this month. Win, lose or retire hurt, though, the world will be watching.
Absolutely. Now, the sun is shining and it's a bank holiday weekend for many of us. That means only one thing, getting out and about. But people using the North York moors are being warned that there's a serious risk of fire. Low rainfall and high temperatures in recent weeks mean that the moorland is tinder dry. Colin Briggs reports.
The National Park Rangers admit the moors have rarely looked better. Great swathes of purple heather and lush vegetation, bathed in brilliant sunshine with a promise of more to come. Just the sort of sight that brings tourists and visitors from closer to home flocking to the open spaces. But don't be misled. Underneath, it's bone dry. And that's what's got park rangers worried, especially when visitors want to make the most of it and eat out.
These disposable barbecues are becoming extremely popular that you buy from supermarkets and the rest, and people don't realise that they themselves get very hot and they just buy them because they're in a tin foil package and just plonk them on the ground and don't actually come prepared to use them properly. And of course, they get hot. They don't usually bring a container of water with them to put it out either, and that is a real threat, more than what we used to be our biggest threat was cigarette ends and the like.
The traditional don'ts remain. Don't throw bottles away. In fact, don't leave any glass that could act as a magnifier. And of course, if you do see smoke, dial 999 because there could well be a fire. But please, don't write off the rangers as killjoys.
Bring the sandwiches, bring the packed lunches and all the rest of it, but bring a flask. Don't bring the picnic stove, don't bring a barbecue. Come and enjoy it, because it's going to be a super weekend. We're all looking forward to it, including myself. And we want the moors to be here next week as well as this weekend.
Flask, sardies and picnic rug. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Bottle of wine sounds even better. Archaeologists have just downed tools at their annual dig at Bamburgh Castle in Northumberland. It's their 5th consecutive summer working on the site, and this year they've come up with a major find. Barbara Henderson has been to see them.
The Bamburgh dig started 5 years ago when a group of friends decided to look for this burial ground near the castle. Since then, this year's finds are showing evidence of metalworking and suggest that Bamburgh could have been the site of a mint.
It's not inconceivable that we've got minting activity going on here. I know that there has been a debate between coin experts as to whether or not there was a mint at Bamburgh as well as York. It's just possible that this year and in the future we could demonstrate that we have a mint here, which would be remarkable.
Now, students and archaeology enthusiasts come from around the world to scrape at Bamburgh's soil. So why do they do it?
It's kind of more the hope thing. You kind of go, oh, I'm going to find something really good. You really do. But every so often you'll come across something interesting.
This is a good one. A bone dice that came from Trench 1 down at the far end. And you can even see the little dots.
All Anglo-Saxon scholars and sort of medieval historians understand that, certainly in the 7th and 8th centuries, anyone who's anyone in Britain would have known about Bamburgh and where it was. It's such an important and pivotal site. And for the northeastern region, people might argue about it, but I think it is probably the most important site in the northeast in terms of archaeology and history.
We found individual finds which have been absolutely breathtaking, but in the wider context, the actual quality base of Bamburgh is in the buildings, it's in the information that we're generating. We've actually been able to populate that landscape as well by looking at the artefacts and the DNA sequencing and all sorts of things like that. We've actually populated this landscape, made the people live really through our archaeology.
The dig's just packed up again for this year, but the team will be hoping to strike gold again next summer.
Looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Well, we've sent young Mr. Mooney out to enjoy some more of our gorgeous coastline. It's been a tad windy recently with some hot air, Paul. Let's see what's happening down at Blyth.
Well, Wendy, it's certainly a bit breezy here this afternoon, but I don't think the wind will be a feature of the weekend's weather as we head towards the bank holiday. Certainly is today, though. Bright and breezy would sum it up here. This westerly wind causing those wind turbines to work a bit of overtime as it comes whistling in from the west there. But as I say, the wind will ease off and these rather noisy turbines will slow down, I think, over the next couple of days because we're in for light winds over the weekend and a nice dry spell of weather. So for this afternoon, I think just about everywhere will stay dry. There is some cloud around here, and I think more especially the further west you go, the more likely you are to see the thicker cloud. But as I say, it should be dry. The best of the sunshine reserved for right here in the east, I think, and that's probably where we'll see the best temperatures as well. 21, maybe 22 Celsius, that's the low 70s Fahrenheit, and this brisk westerly wind beginning to ease off as we head towards this evening. Now for this evening and overnight, I think most places staying dry. The cloud may be thick enough in the west to produce the odd spot of light rain or drizzle, and overall there will be a fair amount of cloud around, so that should help keep temperatures up, nothing lower than 12 or 13 Celsius, that's the mid-50s Fahrenheit. Well, on to tomorrow, and it's high pressure in charge of the weather. Don't worry about that weather front in the east there, that's going to be very weak, just some patchy cloud, there shouldn't be any rain on it. Come Sunday, the high pressure's still with us, the weak weather front's still there, and even for Bank Holiday Monday, it's still high pressure dominating the weather. So to sum up, over the weekend, it looks as though Saturday, Sunday, Bank Holiday Monday, stick my neck out, probably another couple of days after that as well, staying dry. Broken cloud for all of us, and some good sunny spells as well, and temperatures not too bad at all for the end of August. Up to the low 70s Fahrenheit, I think, just about every day. So there's loads of things on at Bank Holiday Monday, Yorkshire Air Show, Elvington, we've got the Keswick Agricultural Show, obviously at Keswick, and the Sea Houses Lifeboat Fair on Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock. I'll be there, so why don't you come along, say hello, it should be a good day. Just bring the sun cream. So from a blustery Blyth, back to you, Wendy.
Looking sharp, Mr. Mooney. And just before we go, here's a note for the weekend as well. On Sunday, there's another chance to see a special documentary on Jackie Milburn. War Jackie, Reluctant Hero features Alan Shearer, Sir Bobby Robson, Jackie and Bobby Charlton and Malcolm MacDonald, among others, as well as family home movie footage and contributions from wife Laura and son Jack Jr. That's this Sunday, BBC One, 7:30. For now, though, from the Lunchtime team, good afternoon.